ahead and get started. So, preventing burnout, developing regular healthy habits for well being. That is the focus of tonight's talk. And I know that this is an interesting time for many of you. It could be midterms or other really big exams for your particular program. So this is a really good time to talk about this topic because I want you all to develop the resiliency to really deal with burnout. And we're going to dive deeper into what that looks like. Okay. So, first, I want to start with a deep breathing exercise because this is one of the strategies that I like to use to help focus on that resiliency, that health, and well being. So, just for a few moments, I'm going to help you with a guided deep breathing exercise. So, I want everyone to sit in a comfortable setting, feet, flat on the ground, and put your both of your hands on your abdomen. You can close your eyes, and I want you to breathe in with your mouth closed. So breathe in through your nose with your mouth closed and kind of feel your abdomen expand. And I want you to do this for 3 seconds. Okay, so let's do it together. Ready, go. One, two, three. And then on three, hold it for another 3 seconds. And then you'll breathe out through your mouth for 3 seconds. So in for three, hold it for three, and then breathe out through your mouth. Okay. And what this does is it allows your body to really absorb the oxygen that you're breathing in in the most efficient way so that it can get into your system and fuel all your different organs with the oxygen that it needs to do its work. Okay. It's also really good at relaxing your nervous system, particularly it stimulates that parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest system. It allows us to really be calm so that we can conquer the day. Okay. So anytime you're feeling stressed, um, anxious, anything like that, do that 3 second deep breathing. In three, hold three, out three. Okay, just think of it just like that. All right. As a disclaimer, I just want to let you all know this presentation is designed to educate only and is not meant to diagnose or treat any medical conditions. I'm not a medical provider or a therapist. I'm a wellness coach, a consultant, and an educator. So just be mindful of that. Brief background on me. Again, I'm program manager for the Healthcare Workforce Development Authority, and I've been here 2 months. I'll be managing the Community Health Worker Program. Many of you have already heard from me about it, as well as our Graduate Medical Education Program. I have an academic background in health education, clinical nutrition, and higher education administration. My career background is in advising undergraduate pre-health students, managing student services for allied health students, and coordinating, most recently, a physician residency program, specifically in internal medicine. All of this at VCU. And then on the side, I'm a wellness coach and nutrition consultant. Okay. So, what is burnout? We hear that word often. Burnout is a response. It's a response to stress that over time it can negatively affect our health, whether it's our mental health, our physical health, um, and it's progressive. Okay. It can be categorized in different subtypes, but that's all based on how progressive the burnout is. And the getting to those various different advanced forms of burnout is based on many factors, the specific triggers that might be causing the burnout, as well as your body's ability to be resilient or respond to stress. Okay. And that's kind of the part that we're really going to focus on now because stress is something that we can't really avoid. Okay. Whether it's good stress or bad stress. Okay. It's something that we can't avoid, especially going into the healthcare profession. So what our goal is to figure out ways that we can engage in different behaviors that's going to build up that resiliency so that our body can handle the stress. Okay. Uh-oh, I think I went a little too far. There we go. All right. So how do we promote health in order to reduce the impact of stress? And again, it's about building that mental and physical resiliency. It's through wellness. It's through engaging in different wellness behaviors and activities that's going to help us achieve that state of mental, physical, social well being. And not just have that absence of disease. That's actually the World Health Organization's definition of health. But in order to kind of achieve that state, we have to engage in wellness activities. Okay. So I want to discuss what I call the wellness pie. Okay. And it's not an actual pie that you can eat, but it's a pie that's going to help you focus on the various dimensions that's going to get you to that health that you're looking for so that you can cope with the stressors that could potentially cause burnout. I want to focus first on something that I don't think that we all do very well, which is sleep. Okay. Sleep is so important. You know, gone are the days where we can really live a life and say things like, "Oh, I'll just sleep when I'm dead," or "Sleep is for the weak." Yeah, sleep is absolutely for the weak. You will become weak if you don't sleep enough. Okay, so we need to really focus our lifestyles around sleep. It helps promote healing, so physical, mental healing, energy restoration. Okay, this is our time to really build up the energy that we need to conquer the day. It helps us with our hormonal balance. For example, cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It goes down at night to help us sleep better, and it goes up in the morning, those levels in the morning to help us conquer the day. That balance can become imbalanced if we're not sleeping well. So it's really important to get our sleep from a stress perspective. Need about 7 to 9 hours per night. And that's more of an evolutionary thing. We've over time evolved to need about 5 different sleep cycles, which are about 90 minutes. So when we're getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep regularly, we feel refreshed. We can heal. We can have good hormonal balance. Lack of sleep, and you're going to see this point on all of my slides, but lack of sleep or lack of whatever else we talk about moving forward is associated with lower quality of life, disease, shortened life. Getting good sleep. So it's all, we always hear you need to sleep better, you need to sleep better. But how do you do it? Well, first, you need to make sure that you're in a relaxed state. Okay. You can't be in a stressed state and try to go to sleep. So, one of the things you can do is really do those deep breathing exercises, like I mentioned, or anything else that's going to keep you relaxed and not so anxious. Remember, it's about stimulating that rest and digest nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. Oftentimes when we're stressed, we're dealing with the sympathetic nervous system, and that is not the appropriate time to be trying to go to sleep. So, as the night is coming along, make sure you're doing things that stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. No eating at least 3 hours before bed. Okay. Eating a meal can spike the sympathetic nervous system and release that cortisol. And also it allows it's making your body have to work too hard to digest and not enough to actually go to sleep. Those digestion and sleep are major processes. So your body's not going to want to do both at the same time. Usually digesting the food is probably going to take over and you're not going to get the best sleep. Okay. Sunlight during the day. We do this as Americans. We're not really good at this. We stay inside all day long and we don't go and get sun. And I know as healthcare students, that's a little hard sometimes, but we've got to do our best to prioritize, even if it's just 5 minutes here and there. Go get some natural sunlight. It will help your body boost serotonin levels, which serotonin converts to melatonin at night. And we know that as our natural sleep inducing hormone. Okay. So it's really, really important to get that natural sunlight during the day so that we can naturally release melatonin and not have to take a synthetic form of it through supplement, right? This was one of the things that helped me really get into this wellness space was I had my own sleep issues. And one of the things I noticed was I wasn't really getting a lot of natural sunlight. I was in an office all day that had no windows, and I rarely went outside unless it was, to go get something to eat or whatnot. But that sunlight during the day is very, very important. It also just makes us feel good because serotonin is the feel good hormone. No caffeine at least 8 hours before bed. That can be hard for some people, but depending on your genetics and your body chemistry, it can take up to 8 hours for your body to actually fully metabolize caffeine from coffee, which we know is a stimulant. It's going to stimulate that sympathetic nervous system and keep you up and keep you, moving and going. That's not what your body wants to do when it's time to go to bed. Everyone's body responds differently. Some people could drink a coffee before bed and still sleep. So, but if you're someone who actually has problems sleeping, this is a strategy I highly recommend doing. Making sure that you're in a dark environment, keeping those, blackout curtains, closed so that the room is completely dark. Removing any type of light, whether it's from the TV or any of your electronics. You want a room that's completely dark because the light inhibits that melatonin that's being produced at night. So that's one, method you must implement. You also want to make sure that you're in a cool environment when you're sleeping. This was something I learned over time was very valuable, to the point where, I mean, it's been probably about 4 years now since I've had my sleep issues, and this is a practice I practice every night. I put the thermostat on, between 65 and 68 degrees, and it's very helpful for inducing sleep. In order for your body to go into those deep sleep stages, it needs that cool temperature because one of the things that those deep sleep stages does is cools your body down. Okay, so in order to kind of stay in those stages, you want to be in a cool room. And just making sure that even from a bedding perspective, there aren't too many things around you that's going to make you hot. This is an interesting one here, no alcohol before bed. So I know some people think like, oh, have a glass of wine helps me fall asleep. Wine is a depressant. So yes, it's going to, make you naturally fall asleep, but it's not going to help you go deep into those sleep stages, and get that good REM sleep that you really need for what we discussed earlier, that energy restoration and that healing. It's not going to let you go, deep into those stages. So it's really, really, if you're going to have any type of alcohol before bed, make sure it's several hours before going to bed. Give your body a time to, let it wear off. And then nutrition. Nutrition is key, for sleep, and it's something that we don't really talk a lot about in the medical community. You need various different nutrients in order for that process that we talked about, going from serotonin to melatonin, that biochemical process. Everything starts from tryptophan, which is an amino acid, and then converts down all the way to melatonin. And you need nutrients like magnesium and vitamin D and vitamin C and iron and zinc and things like that. All of those play a role in those biochemical processes. So if we're not eating a healthy diet and we're having trouble sleeping, well, that's one strategy we need to be thinking about. Okay. Now let's talk about nutrition. That leads us into that. Nutrition can make or break your ability to cope with stress. Okay. Um, Inflammation. When you are stressed, your body is going to be completely inflamed, and your body uses nutrients in order to cope with that inflammation, which means you can easily become depleted in these nutrients. So, this is why it's very important to eat a balanced diet as much as you can. And in some situations, excuse me, you might have to supplement. Okay, so that might have to supplement certain nutrients. For example, magnesium is a nutrient that is vital to to your life. It has a role in hundreds of reactions in your body, But these days, because of farming techniques, a lot of minerals like magnesium are usually depleted from crops and produce and things like that. So that's often a supplement that I recommend to clients sometimes when they're having trouble sleeping or they're stressed a lot. Um, that is something that's really going to help them out, and it's naturally a calming mineral, so it can naturally help you cope with stress. It's important to consume more of your meals from whole food sources versus processed foods because whole foods have more nutrients. They're more nutrient dense versus the processed foods are not as nutrient dense. And sometimes, even if they do have a lot of nutrients in them, it's usually because they're fortified. They've added nutrients to foods, and they might be in more synthetic forms versus if you're getting it from the whole food source, you're getting the real nutrient that your body naturally recognizes. Lack of nutrition is associated with lower quality of life, disease, and a shortened life. Okay, doesn't help you build that resiliency so you can handle the stress and live a nice long life. As you can see, you are what you eat. Okay, all aspects of your body rely on nutrients in order to function. Okay, whether it's your eyes, your thyroid, your heart and blood vessels, muscles, everything relies on nutrients to work. Okay, so we got to start thinking about, coping, resiliency, and how our body works from a nutritional perspective. We want a plant rich diet. Okay, that's not saying be completely vegan or anything like that, which I think is also fine as well. But we want plant rich because there's tons of anti inflammatory properties and antioxidants and tons of vitamins and minerals. Okay. Um, we actually want fat. Fat is not bad, but we need to have the right fat because you need fat for your cells and you need cells in order to cope with stress. Okay, so we need fat from healthy sources like avocados and fish and nuts and seeds. Mindful eating. So when you're eating, actually focusing on the eating and not focusing on other things like, you know, something that stresses you out. Because a lot of times, especially these days, we eat when we're stressed or we eat when we're busy. We need to take time to really focus on let me enjoy this food. Let me chew it 30 times so I can break it all the way down and get it to my digestive system where it can really get all the nutrition out of it. And have an enjoyable experience out of it. Eating it can be a hugely enjoyable experience. And oftentimes we're just eating when we're stressed. Okay. At the same time, don't stress. Moderation is key. You don't have to have a perfect diet, but you want to make sure that you're mindful of what you're eating. Consuming things like herbal teas, those are full of antioxidants and can kind of help you deal with that inflammation and oxidation from stress. Making sure that we're drinking enough water. Water is necessary for things to move and work in the body. All those biochemical reactions that we were discussing, all that takes place in water. 70% of your internal environment is made up of water. So it's really important to drink enough water so that you can also, handle the stresses of the day. I didn't realize how water inadequate I was in terms of my consumption until I started drinking more water and started noticing how I felt, in different stressful moments. Being mindful of alcohol consumption, of course. Alcohol, yes, it may make you feel good in that moment, but as I kind of explained a little bit earlier on, it'll disrupt your sleep. It'll promote that unhealthy response to stress because it'll make your body release that cortisol, okay, over time. So we've got to use alcohol responsibly. And then, of course, mindful coffee consumption, because again, the caffeine in it is a stimulant, and that can kind of promote that stress and anxiety for people who are more prone to that. Okay. Again, a lot of these things depend on just naturally how your body works and your genetics and things like that. But all of those things work together to make you who you are. Okay. And make you figure out, how resilient you're going to be to stress. Okay. Physical activity, the other part, another big part of the pie. it boosts your mood and motivation, so when we're in the middle of the semester and we're wanting to give up, go get some exercise because you might come back and say, all right, you know what, I can conquer this now. And it's about regular movement, not about, doesn't have to be high intensity exercise. It can be simply, let me go take a nice quick walk for 5 minutes here and there, you know, getting movement through. I'd rather someone move all throughout the day, go do house chores, go garden, go, take a walk a few times a day. I'd rather you do that than be sedentary most of the day and then just go for 45 minutes to the gym at the end of the day. You know, the the earlier thing that I mentioned, that's going to be more impactful for your health than the latter. Okay. Lack of regular physical activity is associated with lower quality of life and a shortened life. Um, Again, walking, jogging, dancing, one of my favorite forms of physical activity, swimming, gardening, yoga, and then qigong, which is a medical form of tai chi, which is an excellent, low impact exercise you can do that really works all parts of your body, your mental and physical and emotional, um, and is very easy to do. That, reach out to me or look up some videos on YouTube. It's something you can do very easily in the morning, afternoon, at night before bed. Relaxes your nervous system, relaxes your body. Again, as I mentioned, spread movement throughout the day, not just simply 1 hour at the gym a day. Move all throughout the day. Obtain proper nutrition beforehand and afterwards because exercise can deplete you of nutrients. So it's very important to replenish. Okay. Toxins. This is something that, we talk a little bit about, but we don't think about it in terms of our ability to be resilient and cope with stress. But toxins are harmful to the body. And when they build up over time, they lead to inflammation and disease. So that inflammation, is it's all throughout. It's systemic. It's throughout the body, the brain, the blood, the different organs. So it affects your ability to cope with stress. Okay. Aluminum, lead, mercury, arsenic, BPA, all those different things are in all of our products, that we use or in the environments that we live in. Okay. So it's really important to kind of be mindful of the different products that we might be using either, personal care items or cooking, all those different types of things. You got to be mindful of that. And some of the things you can do could be something simple as making sure that you always wash your fruits and vegetables to kind of wash away a lot of chemicals. For example, like rice, rinsing that before you cook it to help remove any, potential arsenic that could be on it. Consider purchasing organic, as much as you can. Some obviously it's a little bit more expensive, but organic foods are going to reduce your exposure to toxins from the food. Drink plenty of water to help your body naturally detox and excrete, toxins that may have built up. I already mentioned this. Be mindful of your cleaning products and personal care items, and then sweating. So exercising or going to saunas, that while it may not help in a major way, it still helps in removing, some level of toxins from your body. So just be mindful of these things and incorporate them into your lifestyle so that again, you're helping your body remove, anything that's foreign or anything that's not meant to be there that's leading to inflammation and reducing your ability to be resilient, reducing your body's ability to be resilient. And last but not least, this is my favorite one, and it might actually be the most important one. But support happiness and mental health. Okay, these are these, three things we must focus on because they affect every aspect of your health and your longevity. Okay, we need to be thinking about things such as what fills your cup. If we're doing something that doesn't fill our cup, that's not really our purpose, our mission, our reason for doing, then we're going to get stressed and burnt out easily. Okay, so hopefully, you all are in your healthcare program, so you have found your, what fills your cup or what your purpose is. But this is, think, even futuristically in other endeavors that you engage in. Does this fill my cup? And if it doesn't, I should not be spending all my time doing it because it's going to stress me out eventually because it doesn't fill my cup and then it's going to cause burnout. So always periodically ask yourself that question. Poor mental health affects your physical health, which leads to disease. Again, all of these things are connected. We should never think about health in individual parts. Everything works together again to make you who you are and your ability to cope. Find your purpose, as I mentioned. Surround yourself with people who support you. Okay. If you're around people who don't support you, you don't need to be around them. Okay. Make time for things that you enjoy. And that's more than just, your school, your program. If it's going out to dinner with friends or going to see a movie or going to a sports event, whatever it is, go make schedule that time, because you need to have and life just gets busier as you get older. So you have to start scheduling time for things that you enjoy, so you can kind of get your mind away from the things that potentially will stress you out all the time. Let it go. Things that come up that are just so minor, but they might be stressing you out. Let it go. Deal with it and just push it aside. Don't compare yourself to others. And I put this little icon here, this Instagram icon, because we do a lot of this through social media. We compare our lives to others, but it just leads to additional stress that we don't need. So focus on you and your path. Everyone's path is different. And even when you think someone's path is so great because of what they post on social media, it's usually not. So never compare yourself to others. Be realistic. This is something my mom had taught me very early on. But be realistic. Every day is not going to be a great day. It's not. Okay. I'm not telling everyone just be happy all day long because it's so easy to be happy. It's not. I still have moments of unhappiness. But one of the things that I do is I tell myself, okay, be realistic. What's going to make me happy in this moment? What's realistic for me to be happy in this moment? And then go and do it. It's all about having conversations with yourself to help yourself, get through these situations. Okay. Stimulate your vagus nerve. This is that nerve that extends from your brain and innervates all the different areas from your thyroid to your abdominal cavity, your digestive system, your heart and lungs. And it affects all those different areas and all those different organs that I mentioned. So stimulating your vagus nerve is really important to kind of keep you calm because again, I mentioned heart in there. So if your heart rate or blood pressure might go up, if you're stressed or anxious, doing things to stimulate your vagus nerve will help activate that parasympathetic nervous system and kind of keep you calm. So that's things such as cold exposure. Always one thing that I do, I keep like a handheld fan. If I know I might be in a situation that might make me stressed or anxious, um, or just something cold in general, like let's say a bottle of water that has ice in it. So that cold exposure helps stimulate that vagus nerve, calms you down. The deep breathing that I mentioned, doing that 3 seconds in, hold it for three, out for three, that naturally slows down your breathing, slows down your heart rate, and slows down your mind. There are various other things, laughing, humming, just being around others and having a good time. All that stuff kind of relaxes that nervous system and helps stimulate the vagus nerve. So think of that when you're having these moments as well. How do I stimulate my vagus nerve? Obtain natural sunlight. Again, that's our natural way of producing serotonin, which is our mood producing hormone. And this is a big one. My partner talks about this all the time. Enjoy the journey. You all are on an amazing journey, going to become amazing healthcare professionals, and it's going to take some time and sacrifice. But enjoy every single day. Enjoy every single aspect of this journey, and even after your program, enjoy the journey of your career and the life that you build for yourself every single day, because life goes by fast. So you really want to make sure that you make the most out of it. So this is wellness. This is that wellness pie. And these behaviors keep your body resilient. So again, we're not going to completely avoid stress ever. Um, but it's really important to engage in these wellness behaviors so that when we are faced with stress, our bodies, our mind, all of that in one can deal with those stressors. Okay. Thank you. Any questions? I'll stop sharing. Any questions from anyone? I will tell you briefly that, oh, Amy, did you have something? Oh, you just came off camera. I will tell you all briefly, again, the way I kind of got into this wellness space. So yes, I have a bachelor's degree in health education, but I didn't practice anything health education related after college. I mean, it honestly took me almost 10 years to do anything because it took me that amount of time to really realize that I wasn't engaging in wellness behaviors that would make me resilient, that would make my body resilient. And about 10 years after I graduated from college, I started experiencing extreme insomnia. And I had digestive issues, and it was just really bad. I think I was probably 31 or 32 at the time. And this is when I started reading up about, after 30, things start to change, biochemically. So you kind of have to do things that will, again, make your body more resilient. So this is when I learned about the importance of getting natural sunlight during the day and, eating a balanced diet and supplementing sometimes and making sure I got regular physical activity. And it wasn't just one of those things that helped me get my sleep and my digestion and other issues back together. It was the combination of all those things. So that's another thing I wanted to mention to you all. If you ever try one thing and you're like, this isn't working, don't give up because it's never just one thing that's going to work. You have to do all those different things that I mentioned in that wellness pie to get to where you want. Now, some people they might be able to do one thing, they might be okay, but that may mean that all those other things they either already have been doing or their body is already resilient in those ways. So just think about that complete, wheel that I showed you when you're having your moments of stress and hopefully not burnout. But think about that and incorporate that so that it becomes a lifestyle for you. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Amy and Abby.
Natasha, did you have a question? She came off mute, so I thought maybe she had a question. Well, thank you guys all for joining us tonight. I hope this was um, illuminating and relaxing. I know, like, I was just listening and seeing these like soothing slides and thinking about all the like little changes I could probably even make throughout the day and over time to like just kind of reduce burnout and stress, or prevent burnout by reducing stress. So thank you so much, Henry, for sharing your knowledge and your time with us tonight. And I hope you all have a great evening.